Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Coming up tonight in Our News, the government had spent nearly $1 million on the Dubai trip. A former government worker brought to tears outside a social services meeting. Cuban nurses arrive in the Bahamas, and a young recording artist starts 2022 on a high note. Welcome to Our News. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. Topping news tonight, the government has spent up to $1 million for the Bahamas' presence at the World Expo in Dubai. Director of Communications in the Office of the Prime Minister, Lucayan Ramming, said the United Arab Emirates generously supported the presence of the Bahamas' pavilion through providing $3.5 million. Another $500,000 was donated by the private sector, and up to $1 million was approved by Cabinet, which he said is a decrease from what the Minnis administration approved.
Because of the millions invested today, in order to ensure the Bahamas' reputation was protected and promoted, in order to maintain good relations with the government of the UAE, Cabinet agreed to support the country's presence at Expo up to a maximum $1 million. This figure is budgeted to cover the expenditure of the duration of the Expo from October 21 to March 2022. This represents a substantial reduction from the $1.7 million approved by the prior F&M government's Cabinet.
On Thursday, Ramming revealed that over 100 people were sent to represent the Bahamas, including gospel choir Shabak, the Royal Bahamas Police Force Band, local artisans, and government representatives. The government has been criticized for the size of the delegation as Bahamians raise questions about how taxpayers' money is being spent. Ramming said aside from the Expo, Prime Minister Philip Davis has a number of key meetings scheduled.
In addition to the bilateral and trade meetings, PM Davis will be supporting our cultural delegation, who will be showcasing Bahamian talent on Bahamas National Day, which will enhance our country's profile while at the same time providing a wonderful opportunity for international exposure for our artists. A Junkunu group, the Royal Bahamas Police Force Band, the Bahamas All-Star Band, and the Shabak Choir are among the many artists who will be performing.
Well, opposition leader Michael Pintard is speaking out against what he calls the unfair treatment of urban renewal staff on Grand Bahama. One former employee was brought to tears on the outside of a mandatory social services meeting today as she told the media that she and others lost their jobs days after Christmas. Jasmine Brown has more.
Emotions ran high and tears flowed today as this former general worker at the Pine Ridge Urban Renewal Office spoke out.
Oh God. I'm not crying here because I miss my job. Of course I do. I miss my job. Or I miss my pay. But it's the love we have found for those kids, those individuals. Seniors, we have a band, 70 strong. As a matter of fact, we had no instruments. I cooked by myself to get instruments for those kids.
Veronique Pratt, a mother of one, says she and some of her co-workers got their walking papers on December 28th.
My heart is broken. My heart is broken. And not only if I need my monies, yes. We all do. But because we have this relationship, these people grow on you. My phone still rings today. When y'all will be back open? I can't tell them because I don't know myself. But I'm pleading to the powers to be, to please. Every 5 years, the program should not shift or change because the government has.
Pratt was one of several people who gathered at St. George's High School on Grand Bahama this afternoon. Minister of Social Services Obi Wilchcombe and PLP Senator Kirkland Russell were both on campus meeting with urban renewal and social services workers. Our news team was there as the meeting ended and Wilchcombe exited the building. While he declined an on-camera interview, he did call the meeting nothing out of the ordinary. He did not elaborate further. Our news team obtained this memo that does not indicate what the meeting was about. However, it made it clear it was mandatory. Marco City MP Michael Pintard says he got wind of the meeting and thought it best to show up, given what he called the unseemly circumstances he says has been unfolding in Grand Bahama's Urban Renewal Office. He addressed the media outside the school gates moments after the meeting wrapped up.
We're here to say to the government that we are expecting them to govern for all Bahamians. if actions were taken by the past administration, releasing persons, and you believe it was for political reasons, we do not endorse any form of political victimization. We believe that this government, with this leadership, should set a new culture in the Bahamian society. We believe that we should represent all Bahamians.
The Davis administration has also accused the former government of playing politics with urban renewal, which was originally started under a PLP government by former Prime Minister Perry Christie. In fact, earlier this month, it was revealed that the Davis administration settled with 65 former employees of urban development who were terminated after the May 10, 2017 general election. Reporting for our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Well, F&M leader Michael Pintard revealing that interested buyers offered to pay the Minnesota administration more than $80 million for the Grand Lucayan resort. His comments come days after Tourism Minister Chester Cooper said the government is aiming to sell the resort for $150 million.
You have had offers in the original set of offers that would have, I believe at least two of those offers may have exceeded $80 million, while the majority of them was south of that figure.
Pintard was explaining what he thought was the Davis administration's reason for selling the resort for $150 million when it was purchased by the Minnesota administration for $65 million and sold for $50 million. He said he believes the previous offer has given Cooper confidence that the government will be able to sell the resort at that price. Pintard said the buyers will have to be vetted and have well-lined pockets.
The broker will vet every company that makes an offer to determine if, in fact, they're a credible entity with deep enough pockets to do two things: pay the asking price, and then secondly, to have a lot of money left over to invest in the transformation of the property, because the figures could be quite substantial if you're going to invest in the transformation of the entire property.
The government recently canceled the agreement with Royal Caribbean and ITM Group. Pintard said Grand Bahamians are tired.
They're tired. They certainly want less promises or less talk and greater delivery. And I think that's essentially the mood. And so I'm happy that the government has not made a determination to close the property because, again, we've gone down this road before.
50 nurses from Cuba arrived in the Bahamas today to help in the fight against COVID-19. They were welcomed during a ceremony at the Superclub's Breezes this afternoon. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Michael Darbolt said around 300 candidates were interviewed.
You being here today is a direct result of very strong negotiation between the Cuban government and the Bahamas government. I want to thank the Excellency, Machantes, for his cooperation and his ability to bring us to where we are today. It is a clear mutual relationship and diplomatic ties that has given us this opportunity to reach out to Cuba for the assistance that we're having today.
Now the group is being temporarily housed at Superclub's Breezes. Dr. Darbolt vowed to treat them like family. Cuban Ambassador Julio Cesar Gonzalez Machante expressed gratitude to the Bahamian government.
We are sure that we will have a very good develop of the work, and during this particular moment that is more difficult, but in the future we will continue strengthening our cooperation in the area of health.
Well, as 50 nurses from Cuba arrived in the country, former Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands painted a grim picture of the state of the healthcare system due to a rapid increase in COVID cases and hospitalizations. Here's Berthany McDermott.
The growing number of healthcare workers either in isolation or quarantine due to COVID-19 is causing significant strain at the country's hospitals, according to former Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands, who says hospitals can no longer manage as many patients as they once did. Sands said this is a very challenging time for the healthcare system, as both the public and private sectors saw an exodus of healthcare workers.
What I think is a fair statement is that this is a very challenging time. At one point, Doctors Hospital without more than 100 staff members, and the Public Hospitals Authority by a comparable number. I think the total between the two was around 270 healthcare workers total. It is impossible to maintain normalcy with that type of attrition.
The daily COVID count has been in the triple digit for the last 2 weeks. The Bahamas saw a major surge in COVID-19 cases in late December, but the number of individuals admitted to hospital with COVID-related illnesses remained low. However, circumstances changed in recent weeks as hospitalized cases gradually increased. As of January 12th, 119 individuals were hospitalized with COVID-19, 74 of them at Princess Margaret Hospital.
But there is no doubt that there are people hospitalized in intensive care units on ventilatory support, on high flow oxygen with COVID today. And those numbers are not insignificant.
However, the former health minister said both COVID and non-COVID related patients are forced to pay the price. He said frontline workers are exhausted.
When policy is being made, very easy to say, we just got to learn to live with it and just send the people that get sick to the hospital, but show must go on. When there are people that are struggling to keep people alive and to take care of them, and the perception is that their fears, their concerns are now insignificant because we have a different agenda, that can be problematic.
He warned against trivializing the role of frontline workers as their patience is wearing thin. Earlier this week, Health Minister Dr. Michael Darville said as many as 180 public health care workers are either in isolation or quarantine.
You now have a different metric. And so, whereas you may have been able to manage 100 people before, now that you have far less people out because of illness or resignation, you are not going to be able to manage the same number, same way.
50 nurses from Cuba arrived in the country today to aid in the COVID fight. Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Clear conditions expected tonight. Meteorologist Greg Thompson joins us with a first look at weather.
Thanks, Kyle, and happy Good Friday, everybody. Very chilly evening on the outside. I saw some people out there with some sweaters and some jackets. Those temperatures in the upper 60s under mostly clear skies, and those winds whipping out of the northwest, still at a plus 30 miles per hour, and that's making it feel like the low 60s. 64 is the current feels-like temperature. Satellite view. Two boundaries, one moving across Hispaniola, that's the actual front, and then we have a surface trough just behind that. That's the push of the cool air that has been invading the Bahamas. We will continue to enjoy those cool temperatures tonight, so pull out those sweaters and those blankets. You're gonna need them. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come, is the government asking for too much for the Grand Lucayan? And a financial expert predicts consumers could be paying more this year. Stay tuned.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
You're watching Our News. Welcome back. As the government seeks $150 million for the Grand Lucayan Resort on Grand Bahama, some people are questioning, could that price be a bit too high? Some Grand Bahama businessmen feel there is cause for concern.
When I heard of the listed price of $150 million, I was rather concerned. One, where did such price come from?
Despite their desire to just have the sale of the hotel completed, some Grand Bahama businessmen are questioning if the $150 million government is seeking for the Grand Lucayan is a bit much.
If the government of the Bahamas can get $150 million, power to the people. But what we don't want to see happen is a price increase or a price hike to runaway buyers to be able to get this property quickly sold, and not just sold, but quickly open.
Tourism and Investments Minister Chester Cooper said the prime beachfront property is a magnificent site, and there are 6 potential buyers interested. A shortlist is expected in 6 weeks. This Grand Bahama businessman said the whole island is looking forward to the completion of a deal, as many businesses in the area are depending on the economic boost it'll bring.
Not just straw vendors, but I think the whole island is beyond desperate for the sale of this property. We are very, very desperate to see a buyer purchase, to see a buyer remodel, to see a buyer bring a different brand, and to be able to bring tourists, visitors to our shores.
The Minnis administration purchased the resort in 2018 for $65 million and has spent more than $1.2 million per month in operational costs. The Davis administration last month canceled the agreement in place with Holistica, saying it was a bad deal for the Bahamian people. Opposition leader Michael Pintard has said the new buyer must have deep pockets. Well, Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce President Gregory LaRota Sr. says at this point, 3 years later, Grand Bahamians just want the resort sold.
While we're not saying the government should give the hotel away to anyone, I think the price that it's eventually sold for is not as important to us as it being sold and redeveloped.
Despite efforts to ease the financial burden placed on Bahamians, Central Bank Governor John Roll confirming that prices are predicted to increase this year.
We also expect, when we look at the year ahead, that Bahamians will see more of the inflation that is already happening outside of the Bahamas. We are going to see it particularly in the goods and services that we import. We shouldn't expect that there will be a one-for-one relationship between our inflation and the United States inflation, because inflation is really just a reflection of the combination or mix of goods and services that you consume. And in the case of the Bahamas, our consumption basket looks different from the American.
If there is any good news, Roll says it's that people are expected to make more money than they did 2 years ago as the economy continues to recover.
People are returning to work, and as we move through this year, we will see also increased hours worked for a lot of individuals.
In November, the central bank confirmed an increase in the price of goods and services across most categories in 2021. Still to come, a young singer starts the year on a high note, and another slam dunk for Coach Yo. Stay tuned.
Welcome to our news, and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
This is Our News. Welcome back. A young Bahamian singer won big in a local music competition by Click. Now, A Major is looking to take his talents even further.
I've always wanted this from the minute I knew I could achieve something like this, that it's possible. I always wanted to do it.
Anthony Major, also known as A Major, ended 2021 with a bang, winning Click's Platinum Challenge. All he had to do was sing in the shower and win the support of hundreds.
Sung in the shower, they had the shower set up, shower booth set up. It was really cool. So then I ended up just singing a 30-second, just a little, my go-to song. And basically from the process from there, they picked a final 15. And then from the final 15, they picked the final four, the four highest voters.
What can make me feel this way?
Before he knew it, he was the big winner, taking home $5,000 and production of a music video.
I'm humbled by it, for sure. It feels good to win, but it felt really good, much better to compete. Everybody was so talented, especially the Final Four. It was a pleasure competing with them.
And so to create that platform and to actually give this talented Bahamian an opportunity to be able to be a part of a world-class scene relative to music is what we're excited about. And again, we're going to support him to ensure that he is successful throughout this journey.
A Major has taken music seriously for the past 8 years. He's only been singing since he learned how to speak. And he has big dreams of making it to the big stage and taking his mother along for the ride.
Don't tell me you're my heartbreaker.
And now he's prepared to take it a step further, looking to make 2022 his own.
I'm also working on some projects and some singles and some live performances and stuff. So 2022, I'm honestly hoping to put out more content, visual content for sure, and also just let people see me more, let people know that I'm there more. A lot of social media presence and stuff like that, and just make sure that I'm there and in your face, you know.
me 'cause you're mine still.
Grand Bahama native Coach Yo leading her Lady Rebels to another win. Meanwhile, the NFL playoffs set to get underway. Marcellus Hall has more in sports.
All right, thanks a lot. Welcome to our sports here on a Friday, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. The Ole Miss Lady Rebels. Well, they've been quietly having a great season so far. Coming off a loss, looking to extend that winning streak. Coach Yo at the helm. Let's see how they did. Ole Miss Lady Rebels, coached by Grand Bahama native Coach Yolette McEwen, getting the job done against Alabama, or at least looking to do that, as they look to bounce back from a loss against Tennessee earlier in the week. They outscored them early in the first quarter, and they would never look back. Ole Miss cruising to the easy win here, put 4 plays in double figures. They go on for the win, 86-56, ends up being your final. Ole Miss now improves to 14-2 on the year. The next game comes your way on Sunday when they'll take on Mississippi State, who was 11-4. Right now, Ole Miss looking pretty in the SEC and hoping that they can continue this trend moving forward. Afterwards, Coach Yo talking about the win.
Took one in the chin versus Tennessee, and that really got us to look at some things that we needed to look at. There was no panic in our locker room. That was only our second loss, and we forgot what that sting felt like. I thought our team really locked in on the defensive game plan. Last year playing teams like Arkansas has really helped us, in teams like Alabama, who I thought were doing well, getting real close, and we did not want them to figure things out against us on our home court. So really proud of our team, and glad that they came out and focused on their defense.
To the NFL now, where the NFL playoffs are all set to begin. Wild Card weekend coming your way starting tomorrow with a couple of games on the schedule. Saturday, AFC will take to the field. Las Vegas Raiders will take on the Cincinnati Bengals in the early game. That'll be followed by the New England Patriots and the Buffalo Bills. That game's going to be played down in Buffalo. On Sunday, it's the NFC's time to take to the field. Philadelphia Eagles on the road against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's the early game at 1. And at 4:30, look out. You're going to have the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Dallas Cowboys in the NFC wildcard. And then later on that day, the Pittsburgh Steelers on the road. They'll take on the Kansas City Chiefs. And there it is. You look at sports for you here on this Friday. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you right back here bright and early on Monday. Until then, I'm Marcellus Hall. Back to you.
Still ahead, after bringing in the new year with a bang, many are challenging themselves to a dry January. Find out more after the break.
Welcome to our news, and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
Sunny skies in the capital tomorrow. Greg is back with the extended weather forecast.
Thanks again, Kyle, and welcome back, everybody, for your second look at weather. Of course, air mass that has been changed across our area. Very cold air mass moving across our area. That's behind two front boundaries, one across Hispaniola right now, and the second one moving into the southeast Bahamas. Should exit the area later on tonight, and that cool air mass will be with us for the next couple of days. That low pressure system that had that front boundary attached to it, quickly moving towards the north and east. Pressure gradient between that and a high pressure system in the Gulf of Mexico, generating those very strong winds. Those winds will be falling off as that weak high pressure system moves into our area over the next 24 hours, continuing to keep us very nice for the weekend. But we do expect another front boundary to get near sometime on Sunday, and we will see a change in our mass with some cooler temperatures next week. Boating forecast for all areas tonight to tomorrow. Winds will be falling off. Variable at 10 knots tomorrow. Seas are going to be running 2 to 3 feet, but they will still be up to 6 feet in those swells, so do exercise some caution. Low tide will be the 11:32 tonight. Here's a look now at your national forecast. A look now at your extended forecast through next Friday. I'm just loving this weather. Make it a safe weekend, everybody. Back to you, Cam.
Well, many people around the world kicked off 2022 seeking to fulfill their New Year's resolution of not drinking alcohol, better known as Dry January. Commonwealth Brewery and Heineken have gotten involved, looking to make it as creative as possible.
We have a little spin on the Dry January concept. And from now until February 25th, you have the opportunity for you and 5 friends to win a wet experience at Baja Bay. All you simply have to do is make a purchase of Heineken 00 within any of our 700 wines and spirits stores. And we have all of the instructions. You can just WhatsApp us the receipt, and you have the opportunity to be a part of this awesome experience, all inclusive for you and 5 friends.
With a fun time at Baja Bay awaiting one group of people, Commonwealth Brewery Senior Portfolio Manager for Beer, Waylon McCarty, says it's really an easy giveaway.
It's a 6-pack of Heineken 00 from any of our 700 wines and spirits stores, and you have the opportunity to win. And just text yours, send a WhatsApp of your receipt to the number listed within our stores. You're going to find the number listed, and that's your entry right there. As simple as that.
Well, thank you for joining us for Our News Tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Kyle Joaquin. We will see you right back here tomorrow night. Have a good Friday evening, Bahamas.